To the Negley Elementary School Veterans Day ceremony. We are honored to have you join us this morning. Please respectfully stand for the presentation of the colors, led by Cub Scout Pack 812. Color guard attention. Audience please rise. Scout salute. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard prepare to post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Post the colors. Go. Color guard reform. Color guard about face. Forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard at ease. Audience at ease.
Please remain standing for our national anthem. When Francis fought here at the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies, o'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming, and its red glare that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner for the land free and brave.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Everyone may be seated. The presentation of the colors is a ceremony that marks an important event or anniversary or event. Colors refers to the flags. Historical military colors or flags were used as a rallying point for troops on the battlefield. While large flags are no longer carried into battle, they are still important symbols of the country, a military branch or a unit. Tomorrow, November 11th, our nation celebrates a holiday called Veterans Day. To mark this important holiday, we are pleased to honor the men and women of our armed forces.
Each and every day, countless sacrifices are made by the brave men and women in our armed forces to protect many freedoms that each of us enjoy. Today, we salute you. We are honored to have veterans and active military among us, and many of you in this audience may have friends and family that have served or are currently serving in the armed forces right now. If you are a veteran of the armed forces, reserves, or our active military, could you please stand and remain standing so that we may recognize you at this time?
That are with us here today, and to the families of veterans.
We thank you, and we will not forget the sacrifices that you have made for each of us and for our country. You can take your seat.
We're gonna try it one more time without the music. It's hard to hear on the stage. I'm sorry. We're gonna do it one more time. My native country, let music swell the breeze and ring the trees, we freedom song. Thank you.
World War I officially ended on June 28, 1919 in the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. An armistice is a truce, an agreement to not fight, basically a timeout from fighting, but not the kind of timeout we're used to as kids.
In November 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was the war to end all wars, November 11th might still be called Armistice Day. But in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower changed the name to Veterans Day so that we may honor all of our veterans.
Today we are honored to welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Sally Durham. Has been part of our Negley community for many years. She transitioned from enlisted military medicine to civilian registered nurse and now serves as our district registered nurse. Please welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Durham.
So, good morning, or Ohio gozaimasu. My name is Henry's mom, otherwise known as Sally Durant in the district. My son attends Negley here, and my daughter attended in the past. So I'm here to speak on the behalf of veterans. Ms. Thibodeau asked me to come over and talk a little bit about my naval career. I spent 11 years in naval service from 2004 to 2015, and I was stationed all over the world. My favorite duty station was in Okinawa, Japan. I spent 3 years in Okinawa, Japan, working in the naval hospital there, and learned a lot about the Japanese culture. Was far away, learned how to, learned a lot in medicine working in that hospital. So, I joined the military because I didn't have much of anything, no real family, and really didn't have anywhere to go. And to me, it didn't matter where I went at that time. There were many active duty and when you don't know what to do, join the military. It has no problems telling you what to do. From the morning you wake up, or from first thing in the morning when you wake up, when you go to bed at night, they tell you how to iron your sheets and what to wear and how to walk and what jewelry you're allowed to wear, how the length of your hair, anything you aren't sure of, they will tell you. It's written in regulations somewhere. Before leaving for boot camp, I had to decide which branch of the service I was going to join. So I had my eye on the Army for a while, but my sister said, you need to join the Navy because no matter what, you're always going to be stationed near the water. You'll be by the beach, so join the Navy. So I did, and I went on to boot camp. Boot camp is challenging, yes, mainly because they don't ever let you sleep in boot camp. You go to bed, You're lucky if you're in bed by 10 and you're up by 4:30 in the morning, which was great practice for me for when I became a mother. All that time learning not to sleep, as soon as my children were born, it was not a problem to stay up all night. I've learned to stay up days on end without any sleep. I decided to join medicine. I've always had a fascination with medicine. I wanted to give back, and I like helping people, and I like healing people. So when I joined the Navy, I decided to be a corpsman. Does anybody know what a corpsman is? You do? You know what a corpsman is? I'm very impressed. How about any Navy veterans know what a corpsman is? Absolutely. So if you don't know what a corpsman is similar to the Army medic, okay? So we work in the medical field. We're an unlicensed provider. We use sutures, we stop bleeds, we can do almost anything. There's even the history of the appendicitis, the appendectomy that was performed in a submarine by Navy corpsmen because they were so far under the water during World War II, they could not rise in fear of enemy ships targeting them. So a surgery was done by a corpsman. If you've ever seen Flags of Our Fathers, Brian Felipe's character, he was a corpsman. So that big raising the flag in Iwo Jima, one of those members was a corpsman. The Navy, the Marine Corps does not have any medical personnel within it. The Navy is the one that provides medical personnel to the Marines. So unlike the Army, the medics are Army, Navy corpsmen are naval, but serve with the Marines on the battlefield. We like to joke that the Marine Corps is our baby brother because the Navy came along first, and the Marines are actually a part of the Navy. Didn't know that. So that was my job. However, I served in a different capacity with Marines. I worked in the recruiting station with the Marines, helping all the new Marine Corps recruits, doing sick call, making sure that they were well and healthy so that they could get their training. And I would shoot with Special Reaction Forces. I served on an ambulance that would serve alongside our crash fire rescue that were out on the flight line. So when our firefighters, our Marine Corps firefighters had to respond to planes that had come down and crashed, then I was part of the ambulance that would go out there and respond to that. So Navy and Marines are very, very close. They are our brethren for sure. So with all that being said, the main thing that I want to talk about today is veterans. We gave a lot. We self-sacrificed for our country. We went places that most people wouldn't go. We gave up birthdays and holidays and things like that. And that's not so that we can get a pat on the back. I promise you, we don't want the pat on the back. We appreciate your thank yous. What we want to see is we want to see that you appreciate what we've done for you by you giving back yourself. We want to see you give back to the community. We want to see you give back to our country. We want to see that you appreciate what we did out there, things that you may not have signed up for because you had other reasons, you had other things in your life that you wanted to do. But we want to see you give back as well, and that is basic appreciation. When you are out there giving back to our country, when you're out there giving back to your brethren, your fellow Americans, that warms our hearts as veterans. I think we lost a lot of that during COVID when we were all locked down within our own homes and had very little access to each other, and we all became very consumed with what was going on in our own world. But now that is past, and it is time to get back to our community. As you can tell, although I've left the service, I still participate in the community as a Scoutmaster and a Den leader. I served with Pac 812 and Troop 1948. Both organizations are chartered by our VFW, Charter Org 12058. So we work very closely with our veterans. And many of the programs that we put on coincide with, as you saw, the flag ceremony and giving back to our country. Our three main tenets in Scouts is duty to God and country, duty to others, and duty to self. And so I think those are core values that we as veterans appreciate and have in our hearts. And we hope that everyone else has it in their hearts as well. So, I hope you enjoyed my talk today. Mainly, I want to say to my Marines out there, happy birthday and hoorah!
Thank you, Ms. Grant. We are all inspired by your service to our country. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered to the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the American service members who died in battle or were wounded.
Today, it is indeed our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and we honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and home of the brave.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, forever praise. Oh, mountain majesty, oh, mountain land, America, America, God shed grace on me, and from sea to shining sea.
When America had an important need, these brave ones raised their hand, no hesitation held them back. They were proud to take a stand. They left their friends and family. They gave up normal life to serve their country, plowed into the They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores. Some lost new friends, some lost their lives in long and brutal wars. Other veterans answered a call to support the ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought. This Veterans Day, we salute each and every one of them, the noble and the brave, the ones still here with us today, and those who rest in the grave. So here's to our country's heroes that are cut above the rest. Let's give the honor that is due to our country's very best. Before we finish our ceremony, the choir has one last song to perform. The Armed Forces Medley. When you hear your branch of the military, we would love for you to stand up if you are able.
Over hill, over down, we shall make the lasting track, and the peace songs will rolling along. Up and down, have to listen to the upward shout, as those peace songs go rolling along. Oh, it's high, high, songs are rolling along. Keep on rolling along. Hail to the navy. Anchors away, my boys. Anchors away. Keep on living. You sail and bring us back. From the halls of Montez, the shores of Tivoli, we will fight our country back on the land and on the sea. Crucified for right and freedom, and to keep our honor. We are out to claim the Off we go. We are thunder and voice. Give it up, give it up. Down we go. Sing so here's the Coast Guard marching song. Please sing on the sea. Temper promises are gone. Our day, our reaches. Take on fire. I know God, we are born. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard. Defenders of our liberty.
Thank you to our honored guests, parents, friends, and families. Thank you to our principal and our assistant principals, office staff, and custodial staff. Thank you to our honored guest and keynote speaker, Mr. Evans. Thank you to the choir, housekeepers, safety patrol, our golf cart donors, and the teachers who were involved in today's program.
Thank you also to Club Scout Pack 812 for your leadership and for sharing with us the presentation of the colors. We would most especially like to thank our veterans and active service members once more for being here today. Thank you for your service, dedication, commitment to keeping us safe and protecting our nation and freedoms. To close our ceremony, Cub Scout Pack 812 will retrieve the colors. Will everyone please stand?
Color guard attention, audience attention, color guard for march. Color guard hold. Color guard prepare to retrieve the colors. Scout sign. On my honor, I will do my best, do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law. To help other people at all times, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and more on the street. The Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Color guard retrieve the colors. Color guard return to ranks. Color guard about face. Forward march. Color guard host. Color guard dismissed. Audience dismissed. Thank you. You may be seated. To our visitors, take pictures. Please also take a second to look at our stars in the back. There are also donuts, coffee, and juice for those, and donuts for your little ones, who did such a great job during this ceremony. Please take your time to visit with your students, and you will begin dismissing our students, starting with first grade. First grade, please exit out the courtyard doors. Next grade special classes, please look at your special teachers for directions. Thank you all and happy veterans.